Okay, this is going to be number 2 for my video series here, my video resume. So I figured I would just start real quickly with the total work history, and I got a lot. I'm not going to give you the total times that I've been there. Later on, hopefully you can just throw one of these topics at me and I can get in depth with you. Some of those guys you get, they pick up things quick. A lot of things in this region, it's one of those things you got to be mindful of. I always respect the experience. That's one thing that you can't. It's one of those things you can't hate a company because they don't give you a raise or they do something like that. The enthusiasm goes with it. I can't say in my younger days I've always given the notice or anything like that, but you hear a lot of war stories and you can get caught up in it. But with that said, I always respect the experience. I always respect the job and the product. I don't go beating up product because some other stuff. And time systems are time systems because usually I know they, for the most part with larger crews, or even doing it by yourself, you're just shooting an arrow straight up in the air to put it right down on yourself later or another crew member, even though you want it to be somebody over there. But hey, this is the resume here. But started McDonald's, of course. Was there for a couple of years. Summers working through high school. Just to carry through. That's Hancock. Move over to Capra Laundry. Doing a lot of camp laundry and stuff like that. All the bays, every section in that Capra Laundry, I've done it, from all but driving the truck and office numbers. With that said, did do weight sheets and things like that for weighing the bags, stacking the truck, unloading, all that stuff. We'll get into that later through a different category, whether it be labor or operating, stone docks, a factory work, depending on how I break this up later to a specific resume somebody may want to watch. So Capra, the country store, I did that for a while. Deli, lottery, credit cards, cash registers, customer service, stocking coolers, inventory, clean, keeping the place clean. I'm sure somebody might tell you something like that. You could always ask some of those people. Maybe not all of them, but I'm sure Jerry down there at the country store, Nicky, would probably give me a good reference. Did those for a while. We'll get more into that when I go to a customer service resume. However, I choose to break this up later. From there, it was Tompkins. Did the yard, thermaling, finishing room, hand honing, a lot of stuff under the Veer and Kurt there, Billy and Rich. Again, never in the Corian stuff, but I've been around all their equipment. I think that the only thing I didn't really work up there was their wire saw or their dual saw bay, the one where they got the 2 saws in it. Everything else I've worked around. May not have programmed their big gantry up there, but I was so experienced with what I had there in the timeline that I could have picked it up. I'll say it like that. I just was young. This is around the start of it all. From there, Johnson and Rhodes. That'd be the next on this chopping block. Mostly the tread line. That's what I did. Burn. I could do all the forking myself. Bring in the 12-footers, run the tables, the crane lifts, the 24-inch diamond pull down, stack up my own bays, read the order forms off the wall, and do all that jive. Dumpsters, everything. And help them do wood as well. We'll just throw that in there for a quickie. From there, let's see. From there, I do believe, we'll just say it's, I wish I could remember these all. There was a bunch. We'll just say Knapp Woodworking. That was the next on the chop block up there in Deposit. Custom bedrooms, bathrooms, kitchens. A lot of the head architect, and then they were doing a lot of the main cutting, and then we were doing like the lathing, helping. Apprenticeship positions is the best way I like to put that. You learn a lot of the stuff, inventory, time systems. There were long hours up there. There weren't like one of the factories around here. Those were, we were there 70 hours, cranking into the late hours of the night after every project. It's just The more you get out, the more you make, right? But I was more off the books, so I wasn't getting paid overtime. That was one of the major reasons I left that place. I probably would have stayed. Weren't giving me a raise, but yeah, there was a lot of reasons. But a lot of experience. Woodworking is one of those things that can give you a bunch. Let's see, landscaping, Deposit lawn care. I was there for a little while working with Hillbilly up there in Deposit. JD up there. Now, again, we left on bad terms, but just pushed it hard. That's more of a sweat equity. They definitely had good equipment, good truck, and a good regimen. One of the bigger ones I learned from that was like job management. When you're doing like small jobs for landscaping or carpentry or plumbing or something like that, how to make a weekly schedule, and with week and 2 week bids or even a call-in bid to do a one-time job, and how to balance all that out. Um, by preparing a week like that on a daily, hit this one, this one, this one, run the map in a single line so that way you're not backtracking, being efficient about not wasting gas, and doing that kind of stuff. And that plays off into a lot of other stuff that you do. Um, Even in a factory where you're working, you don't want to have to go a place and then come back and then go back at it again later. One of just real quickly to that, my personal rules, when I do that, I have to run on the second way back. I know companies hate it when you have to run, especially when OSHA's there, but you go half step faster. If you did it the one time, you can walk, because that's what you got to do. A lot of places, if I can't run, I'm a 5 mile runner. I can do it in about 45 minutes or better. 30, 39 something or is my best time, in 5 1/4 miles. So I keep on it. 150 pounds, so I'm doing all right. I try to do that as much as I can on the weekends or time off, but something different. I don't let it affect. I've been doing it for years, so I take care of business. So S&S Stone, I guess, would be next. Shaver Stone. I redid their whole entire. Me and another guy, we replaced the 3-man crew that they had. We redid their entire bay, their entire stone dock. It was a mess. Everything, their stockyard was horrible. We went through it all while processing stone that was coming in, broken natural, loading and unloading trucks with a skid steer. And really good with a skid steer, whether it be cleaning bay, having forks on it, whatever, a wood splitter, you name it. It doesn't take that long to figure out. Always check. That's the big rule with that. Don't let your bucket get crazy and have too much weight too high. And other than that, just watch your grade. Make sure you're not on something you shouldn't be, doing stuff you shouldn't. Take your time. If it looks sketchy, get good with it. Remember the process. Do it just like that again. A recut saw up there. They didn't really have a bay, but we were burning outside, laying stone. I was laying stone. I was cutting with tracer saw all day. That was they liked me doing that. I could lay them out quick, square, whether it be the 3-4-5 rule, 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches should give you a square corner, or just actually physically laying it out, depending on which model is faster for you. Some people prefer different things, and they expect it done a certain way, so it's good to be versed with a lot of them. So from there, I did bounce around at a couple other stone docks and stuff like that. A few of them out in Pennsylvania, but I didn't stay there long. I didn't really care for their process or their saws. If you do something better, you work with better equipment. But options are what they are today. So we'll say it like that. I can definitely probably pick it up. General relativity, that is. So S&S, Devonian Stone would have been the other big one. Again, I started to do everything at that company. I like to consider myself the manager's apprentice. That's really what I was doing, starting in the tread line. They gave me Employee of the Month up there. They brought it back after not having it for a long time, and then actually started doing it because performance went up a little bit. I remember doing some stuff up there for them. One of their biggest orders to date up there, doing stone for Princeton University, which You'll see my name carved on a few of the bottom of the stones up there, if you can dig them out. For sure, on the side that was going in the dirt, yeah, sure, checking grade, I can read a block. I know where to put it in there. Where's the jack line? Where's the good material? Flipping stone, loading and unloading bays. Starting off tread line, then they kind of moved me over to burning stone slabs, which I had a lot of experience from a lot of those other places, Tompkins, Johnson and Rhodes, and S&S there. I don't want to go too much into it, but I'm just kind of covering the overhead. A lot of skid steer experience. Their place was a mud hole, but I kept it as clean as I could. The process was meh, but it was a stone dock. It paid the crew, paid the people, and that's what's important out of everything, really. Work is work. You'd be surprised how muddy you can get doing something that you really wouldn't think you could get that dirty at. Helping out the mechanic with some stuff every once in a while. Arc saws, smaller gantries with rotating tables, honing table, a big honing table, a really big one. Working, the honing table and an arc saw by myself, and being on call to help load bays and dump dumpsters for treadline, which is, across the dock, hopping in the forklifts and just doing what was necessary, digging stone out of the stone yard, reorganizing the stone yard, whether it be the tread pattern or stockyard for slabs. Just being able to, whip out the tape measure, generally be able to do. In the arc shop, it's more custom cuts, so you got to do with what leftover cuts are there, or you're just bringing in a specific block that you want to cut with a little overhead as possible for the stockyard, because it can get messy. Just making sure you use up everything out there. It's kind of the big ones. Again, the big one I learned up there was programming the saws. And I already knew factory, but it's nice to overdo it. A big masonry tag on that one. All again except for quarrying the block. Using the excavator, digging it out of the block yard from being buried over winter, stuff like that. But we tore through it. We tapped their stone yard. Actually had to make them run quarry during the winter and bring it into us because we were the A team. IWC would have been next. They started me on a toe notcher, moved me pretty quick. I tore through that product. I had a good system. By that point I knew factory, how to do veneers and things like that. So just, doing IKEA pieces should have been easy, right? That's the mechanics that it should have been going, and it was. Throw a couple up on the stack on the toe notcher, run them, clean off an edge, make sure the blade isn't leaving burrs or anything like that. Knowing the RPM, so that way if it does, you can do it properly. But usually they like to keep me going, let it go full tilt so I can finish and move on to something else. Biscuit, groover, a high air press, the toe notcher in the air one is, foot powered, load it in there, make sure you're squared up, and you measure it out physically to make sure your rig's right. It makes the cuts, you measure them. You might get one call board, maybe. Hopefully you go small so you can undercut so you can get it right with that board later as your practice board, or use a call board for it if you don't want to waste product. Use a call board. Just MDF thin stuff. Make sure you cut it right. Assembly line, paint booths, sander position, cleaning up the access off of the vacuum presses. Laying a plastic vinyl over it and using a razor blade to clean it up. They'd put me next to a bunch of guys, younger guys that you could tell, just they didn't. And, you're cranking at the same numbers that the vets are doing, and you could replace 3 guys. That's kind of the thing I like to be at. But I always make sure my numbers are right. It's not worth it to rush it through to wind up fucking up a product. No Murphy. But the big one out of that is the CNC machines, XYZ positioning. I began to learn. I got everywhere up to about the actual programming, the order form in there, but I could get into the computer and do a little bit of magic in there to actually reset stuff or change the language because the initial language needed to be debugged a little bit. But generally, your basic, there's a main programmer the main, and I could fix things. So catch you on the next one.